Supervisor McKelly? Supervisor Flores?
Here.
Supervisor Ziegemeier?
Here.
Supervisor Bains?
Here.
Supervisor Conant?
We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Karm Bains will lead us in it, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. We will now have the invocation. Pastor Greg Menster will, from Adventure Church of Yuba City, will lead us, please.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, creator of heaven and earth, we thank you for the gift of life and for the privilege of living in this wonderful community. We ask during this time of COVID that you would watch over and protect our community, provide comfort and care to all who have been affected by this virus, and may our health professionals, hospital workers, and first responders be blessed beyond measure for their service and sacrifice for our county. There is also so much tension in our nation today, and we pray that we might all experience the peace that is available to us through the finished work of Jesus on the cross, and once again be united as one nation under God. We are grateful for these elected officials and ask that you would grant them wisdom and discernment as they serve our county. All authority is ordained by God, and we pray that these supervisors, along with the members of their families and their staffs, would be blessed for their service to us. It's not an easy time to be an elected official, and the strains of leadership are strong in this season. Give them understanding, give them insight, give them calm in all the matters that are before them. As a community, we seek your continued provision as families, churches, schools, businesses, and more struggle. May your word and your spirit empower and enable us all. We rest in your promises, and we trust in your love and grace. We pray these things in the matchless name of Jesus, the name above all names, the only name by which all may be saved and blessed in this world and in the next. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Greg.
Through the chair, I want to thank Pastor Greg for I love watching your videos and along with some of the other pastors here in the Yuba-Sutter area because it's very encouraging, and we need that. We need that. And it's with everything going on, but thank you for everything that you do for the community. You're always there, and it's very uplifting. Thank you.
Thank you again, Greg. Okay, moving on. Public comment. Members of the public will be allowed to address the board on items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors, while state law prohibits that no action may be taken on any item that does not appear on a posted agenda. We have no public comments. Thank you. No public comments. We're now moving on to consent calendar. Consent calendar groups together those items which are considered non-controversial or which prior policy direction has been given to the staff that only require routine action by the board. The chairman will advise the audience that matters may be taken and adopted in one total motion. However, by the board may, by its option or upon the request of a member of the public, consider any matter separately. As items 1 through 10, we understand.
Through the chair,
item 3 will be.
I'd like to pull item 3 for discussion.
Okay, so we have items 1 through 10, excluding item 3. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Bains and seconded by Mike Ziegemeier. We will now do roll call.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier?
Yes.
Supervisor Bains?
Yes.
Supervisor Conant?
Aye. Now we're moving on to item number 3, which was pulled. That item is the board assignments for this coming year of 21.
Yes, through the chair, I would like to make a motion here. I've taken the committee assignments that we originally looked at and so forth, and I'm going to hand these through. Karm, if you could hand one there to Matt, and okay, if you could hand one over to
Nick
McKelly over there, and I'll.
Thank you, Nick.
So
Thanks, Mike.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the committees as is here.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I had sent a late email to the board mentioning the regional child support.
I'll accept that. With the nominee, I would accept being on that if nominated.
And there would need to be an alternate as well. And I'll be serving separately as well.
Sorry to shorten you up there to stop you, but if you could explain to the public what that new committee is.
Sure. So there's a new regional leadership advisory committee related to child support services. Sutter County, Yolo County, and Colusa County are part of a super agency, with Yolo being the lead agency. So a committee has been put together to ensure that communication between the three counties is maintained in a strong manner.
Okay. So, Mike, you're willing to pick that one?
I will take that, which, let's see here.
I'll be the alternate for that. Unless somebody else wants it. Is there any more discussion on this item?
Is someone, okay, would someone throw a motion out there?
We need a motion to approve the slate of committee assignments that Mike, you've presented, and we can have this put into the agenda
Yes, along with the extra committee.
along with the extra committee for child support services. That was called.
I'll second the motion, or excuse me, I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
And so, Nick and Mike. So, and that is adding you as the main for that committee and me as the alternate. Is there any question, Donna or Clerk? You guys understand what we're doing here?
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Okay. Let's make sure we have it all down legally. Okay. Roll call, please. We have a motion and a second.
Supervisor McKelly,
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier,
Yes.
Supervisor Bains,
Aye.
Supervisor Conant.
Aye. Okay, that's items 1 through 10, because we just did 3. We'll now move on to the public hearing. And
Matt, through the chair, I'd like to hold this public hearing off or even listen to, is Neil on the phone?
To the chair.
Yes, good afternoon.
What I would suggest, if it pleases the board, is that I know there's some interest in possibly tabling this for
Correct.
some more information, but maybe it would help if Neil gave a presentation, and then the board is still, of course, at liberty to delay it to a date certain.
I think that's a great.
I'm fine with listening out.
Let's go through the process, and then we'll move to table it at a later time at the end before we take the vote. So first
Excuse me,
item up is
Supervisor
item
Conant.
presented by Neil Hay.
Excuse me, Supervisor Conant, the motion technically would be to continue it, not to table.
Or to continue it. Yes. Oh, you're right.
specific
Thank
date
you,
and time.
Donna.
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, we'll go ahead and proceed through the process and do Neil's presentation, and then we'll open the public hearing, and then we'll ask for public comment, and then we will move to continue it. Okay. So Neil, you're on deck. There you are.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and honorable supervisors. So my department is seeking to essentially raise the fees that we charge the public for the services that we provide. The fees were last considered by the board in November of 2018, and they became effective in January of 2019. So my department every year provides a rate calculation for the various staff involved in the department that provide public service, and those rates are reviewed and approved by the Auditor or Controller's Office, and then we utilize those rates based on time study to generate fees both for the various services as well as deposits for the planning department, building department, environmental health, and even code enforcement. So the staff report today includes a table of essentially various fee increases for the divisions that I thought I'd share with you. For the building division, we're looking to raise our fees about 23%. That's going to be attributed essentially to the increase in staff costs for salary, benefits, and overhead. My department, in addition to certainly having to pay for the staff that is involved, has to include and incorporate the county's overhead into my department, and then we, for the services we provide, we pass that along to the public. Additionally, for the planning department, we have a number of fees that historically have been deposit-based, and we are looking to, in the table that we provided, convert a number of them to fixed fees. So one of the issues and complaints that we have sometimes heard from local developers and builders is that they provide the initial deposit, which is an allowance essentially to get their project started, and then as staff time continues to build for a project, we subsequently bill them and invoice them for the staff time to generate the approval, whether it's a lot line adjustment, some type of map, or if it is a general plan amendment, a rezoning. All those have different deposits and different staff allowances. So we have, based on historical data over the last 2 years, taken the amount of time and the deposits that have been submitted, and we have converted those to a fixed rate so that up front, someone coming to my department would be able to write one check for the services that they receive from my department. For the code enforcement, we're looking to establish fees and update the fees. The county has contracted with a consultant who has made some recommendations about the type of fees that our code enforcement program should include. So, for example, most of the work is done at cost, but we've included costs, the revisions to the administrative penalty ordinance outline the administrative hearing process, and so we've established a new fee of $200 per hearing that essentially would be required to be paid by someone who wants to oppose or their code enforcement issues and have the matter brought before a board and the county's hearing officer. And so the $200 is meant to cover the cost of, one, the hearing officer, and two, the cost of staff that's involved. Additionally, we have developed a proposed fee for marijuana cultivation so that the fee would be $1,000 per incident. And once again, that is intended to recover the staff time associated with the marijuana type of cases. Quite often they involve not only code enforcement, but also cooperation and assistance from the sheriff's office. For the environmental health department, primarily that manages Coupa, the septic systems, the well systems throughout the county, we're looking to increase the fees there by about 12% since 2019. And then in the engineering division, which provides encroachment permits and the various engineering reviews of improvement plans, we're looking to increase those fees approximately 23%. And once again, we have a couple of, I'll say, map-related fees that in the past have been deposit-based, and we are looking to convert them to a flat fee. Once again, to give the developers and the builders of our community a much more upfront cost as to what their total county approval costs would be, as opposed to coming back later due to the staff time that's involved. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. The resolution that's included with the package lists the effective date as these fees possibly being February 1st. That date could be essentially pushed out to, say, March 1st if your board prefers, in order that we can provide an email to the various builders and permittees and contractors that come through our department to make them aware of the new fees.
You know, through the chair, Neil, these are very delicate times right now. We're traveling through the COVID and so forth, and you know, we're trying to encourage businesses to show up and build and move in, not trying to say, hey, we're gonna trying to slow you down here. And I know you have needs and you have wants. That's business, needs and wants. But I still think we need to really dive into this thing. I have a meeting with a few individuals next week with yourself and Steve. I would really like to, and I'd like to have one other supervisor there. I think Matt's going to be there. And like I said, I'd like to table this for the next meeting.
I think that's a great idea, Mike, but let's move on with open the public hearing for the public I don't think and then do the public comment, and then close the public hearing, and then let's go through discussion. And Neil, maybe there will be some questions. I'm not sure. So let's open the public hearing. Do we have any members of the public for comment? No public comment. Okay, we will close the public hearing. No public hearing, right? Okay, we're closing the public hearing, and now discussion. So you would like to table this? To table.
Yeah, make a motion to table it for the next meeting so we can get through what we're trying to get through.
And I'm a little. I mean, I already talked to Neil about this too, but I don't know what the answer is. I don't want to see the county spend general fund money on people's projects, but I don't see where, for example, a storage building in Sutter County would cost $1,100 and in Colusa County it's $676, and in Yuba County Foothills it's $978. That's not that bad. But a house in Sutter County is $52.90, and in Yuba City it's $38. Now they have a lot of the fees associated with that aren't in there. And
Chair, can I second that motion?
yeah, go ahead and second it. Okay. So we have a motion and a second, but I just want to go over that.
Excuse me, Supervisor
real quick.
Conant.
Yes.
Supervisor Ziggermeyer motion to table as opposed to continue. Would you like to
Yeah, we
state
need a
your
motion to
motion, please?
It continues.
Motion to continue, sorry.
To the meeting of the 26th?
The 26th, and Karm, you're good with that?
Yes.
That's a friendly second. And that's all my concerns is the cost associated to the public is, in like a 6,000 square foot house is 12,296 versus that's like 5,000 higher than any other jurisdiction. Well, except for Yuba County Foothills.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I agree with continuing this until what was the date? January 26th. Yeah, I agree with that. And also, look, for me, I'll speak for myself in that, we just got here and it's like drinking out of a fire hose. We have that analogy quite a bit. And I just want to have a good understanding of why the fees have increased by that 23%, and then also get some comparables of some surrounding counties.
Well, that's what I would.
And I know Neil has stated that he's going to provide that information here shortly, and I certainly appreciate that. And so I think it's good for us to put it off here until that date, and just want to have a good understanding of what we're getting into here before we have a vote on that. So thank you.
So the motion is to continue. Is there any other discussion before we vote? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? I mean, the vote.
Supervisor McKelly?
For the continuance?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Supervisor Ziggermeyer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bains?
Aye.
Supervisor Conant?
Aye. Motion passed and to continue unanimously. Okay, moving on.
Chair.
Item 12.
To the chair,
Yes, go ahead.
if I may. Thank you, sir. As Supervisor McKelly mentioned, and I'll work with Neil. I spoke with Neil earlier, and he has some data. I think we will be able to put together some information that shows a complete picture. The information that you were reading is correct. But there is a bigger picture with development impact fees where it can radically change the look of that. That doesn't mean that some of the fees, the board can set them at what they believe is the best or proper rate. It's just that I do think with some more information, it'll at least make it a little clearer. So we'll bring back something to that effect, and we also do have a separate meeting, and I'm happy to schedule a meeting with the supervisors, McKelly and Bains, if they'd like as well.
Yeah, through the chair, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is the fact that, a number was thrown out, $191 cost when that appeal went through in Sutter. So I have to see, and I've already spoken with Nate Black, I want to see the numbers. I want to see how we get to $191 cost. So, because I scratch my head on that, and a lot of people should be asking that question. How the heck do we get to $191 cost? So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Steve. So that motion passes. We're now moving on to the appearance items. Donna Johnson has item number 12.
Yes, good afternoon. We've got a vacancy on the Live Oak Cemetery District Board of Trustees. There was a resignation recently, so we opened up the position according to the Maddie Act. We received two applications for the one vacancy. So normally when we've got more people that have applied than we have openings for, we'll bring it back to the full board for consideration as to who you would like to appoint. This particular circumstance, the Live Oak Cemetery District does review the applications, and they've made a recommendation for Annette Bertolini for the appointment, but there is the other applicant as well for you to consider as to who you would like to appoint for this vacancy.
Nick, do you have some comments on this? Because it's your district.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Annette Bertolini, I've actually worked with in years past at Giovanetti's when I managed their facility out there, and I think she's more than qualified. She's certainly very much invested in the community there in Live Oak, and I think she would be great in that position.
So we need a motion for this.
I make a motion.
Mike, and made the motion. A second?
I'll second the motion.
Karm seconds. Madam, no more discussion, correct? Okay, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Zigemeyer?
Yes.
Supervisor Bains?
Aye.
Supervisor Conant?
Aye. Okay, item number 13. Neil Hay, Guadalupe Rivera will be doing this one, I understand. Guadalupe, are you on there?
I am. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and honorable members of the board. The item before you this afternoon is requesting the approval of a construction contract for the main Library Innovation Center project. And I will now share my screen so you can see my presentation. Did that come up on your end properly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the main library facility located on Forbes Avenue in Yuba City was built in 1971 and was designed to serve a population of just under 14,000 with very different needs for the region at the time. In recent years, the library worked with the Aspen Institute to identify strategies to accommodate for new technology. It was identified that space for students and entrepreneurs to collaborate, share, and present ideas that further the educational and employment opportunities of residents would be greatly beneficial for the needs of the growing region. And they indicated that this should be a critical priority for the library. The county, along with the city of Yuba City, worked together to come up with a plan to create an innovation center to provide access to innovative educational opportunities to library patrons that are currently not available to the library. At the June 18, 2019 City Council meeting, The city unanimously voted to commit $1,163,000 in city library impact fees to fund the construction of such a project. Since then, your board awarded a design contract to an architectural firm to design and develop construction documents for the Library Innovation Center. The result is the floor plan you see on the screen now, which is taken from sheet A281 from the architectural drawings that were put out to bid. The floor plan shows the finished remodel area within the library. The main entrance from the parking lot is on the right-hand side of the page, with the Innovation Center now being the central focal point as you walk into the area, into the building, which is located right in here. And here is a zoomed-in view of the Innovation Center area, which has two pods right in here, if you can see my cursor, which provides space for video and audio recording, blogging, and other technological-driven activities, as well as space for virtual reality over here in this area, and 3D printing. The project also adds 2 study rooms on the other side of the corridor here, and a meeting room, which is in line with what you see at other public and higher learning institution libraries. The circulation desk has been located to this area down below from the Innovation Center, which actually provides better lines of sight for county staff than the current location has, making it a safer work environment for staff. The computer stations and young adult areas located here and here have also been relocated to make better use of the space within the library. The areas you see that are shaded in gray are not part of the scope of work for this project, which are mostly staff-only areas of the library, except for the literacy areas and the restrooms. On your screen now is the architectural rendering of the new circulation area. This is the circulation desk here with the entrance to the Innovation Center here on the right-hand side. The improvements also include new flooring and paint throughout. In addition to the work physically inside the facility, ADA improvements are required at the parking lot area to meet current building code standards. Pavement and striping work to the ADA parking stalls and concrete walkways will also be completed as part of this project. Bids were solicited for the project in December, and the lowest bidder was Treehenge Construction. The day after bids were opened, Treehenge contacted our office and notified us that there was a clerical error in his bid request and in his bid, and requested that their bid be withdrawn. The next lowest bidder was RBH Construction out of Folsom, with a base bid of $789,831. After a review of the project documents submitted for bid, it was determined that RBH Construction was a responsible bidder. Pricing for the improvements to the lighting over the teen area was requested during the bid process, and staff recommends including the lighting improvements for an additional $6,800. Therefore, staff recommends that the board relieve Treehenge Construction from its bid in the amount of $751,529, award a construction contract to RBH Construction in the amount of $796,631, authorize the Director of Development Services to execute the contract along with change order authority per the state contract code, and approves a budget amendment per the staff report. Now, one thing I'd like to bring to your attention is that there was a clerical error in the budget amendment documents included in the original staff report, and the dollar amounts shown are correct. However, the department number was noted as 1806, which should actually be 1816 for the library project. Staff has communicated this with the auditor's office as well. If approved, construction would begin mid-February and would be complete by the end of the fiscal year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Guadalupe?
Did you want to go
ahead.
first, Karm?
You good?
No, my question for you, Guadalupe, through the chair, though, is so they originally bid it and realized that they had an error on their part, Treehenge. So
Yes.
now they're asking to not have to fall through with this bid. We put it out and we come back with 796.
That's correct. The public contract code allows for the contractor to withdraw their bid should they show evidence that there was a clerical error in their bid, and they did do that, and they did it within the time frame allowed within the public contract code.
They did do that. You said?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Through the chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to approve, make a motion to approve staff's recommendation and to award RBH Construction.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Karm and Mike. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, vote, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier?
Yes.
Supervisor Bains?
Aye.
Supervisor Conant?
Aye. Moving on, item number 14, Steve Smith. Approval of funding public purposes for one-time donation of $4,050 to Twin City Rod and Gun Club.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Honorable Supervisors. This recommendation is for a one-time donation of $4,050 to the Twin Cities Rod and Gun Club. We may have some members of the club online to speak. The first time this was done was last year. The Rod and Gun Club is on airport obligated property. To have funding, grant funding on their part from the NRA, they need to have a lease. To have a lease with the county, they had to pay a market rate rent. So they are paying that market rate rent, and an amount equal to that, the $4,050, is recommended to be donated back to the club by the county with the finding of a public purpose, as the Twin Cities Rod and Gun Club is open to the public, and this makes them whole, and then they're eligible for NRA grant funding. So I can answer any questions, or again, we may have some members online.
Is there anybody online who likes to address this issue? Do we think we have anybody?
Are there any members online that would like to address the issue? Gary Kim?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this is Gary Kim. Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time to consider this important thing to our club. As we did last year, we asked for this grant approval to make us whole, I believe is the popular term, but it just allows us to continue to provide the services that we do provide to the Bi-County area. We actually are taking on quite a bit more expense this year because at this very moment we have a company from South Dakota that is scraping our lead out of the backstops, and that's costing us several $1,000s, but it's something that the NRA requires that we do. So just keeping the range up and running is a very expensive process, and as most of you know, if you've been out to our range at all, we hardly charge any fees at all because we want to make it appealing and affordable to the local community.
Through the chair. Gary, I got a question for you. This is Supervisor Ziegemeier. You said Bi-County area. Is Yuba County putting money towards this as well?
No, they do not, because we're actually located physically in Sutter County, but we are the Twin Cities Rod and Gun Club, and we have a pretty good split among the Bi-County. We actually have people from Sierra County, and we have one lady from San Francisco County that is a member.
Do you think this is something in the future, near future, you could reach out to? Because we have a lot of needs. We went over that earlier, a lot of needs in the community. And maybe reach out to Yuba County as well. They got a casino over there in a water district, and maybe they would be willing to help out as well. I think, you know, with what you guys do for the community, that would be positive and would help us out as well. So, but I love what you're doing. Thank you for what you do. Love supporting it. Like I said, it'd be awesome to have, you know, Yuba County step in and help out as well.
That's worth looking into. We'll do that.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Gary. Thanks for your comments.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Ziegemeier to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Nick. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier?
Yes.
Supervisor Bains?
Aye.
Supervisor Conant?
Aye. Item 15, follow-up report. Steve, anything?
Yes, thank you, sir. So I know there's been some discussion here and there about opening board meetings to the public. It is inconvenient to, at times, to write down and email everything that a member of the public wants to say. I just wanted to mention that the board has options as far as, right now meetings are technically closed to the public, other than the occasional, like we had an appearance from Mr. Kim today. But if the board would like to allow a certain number of people in, 10 or 12, or maybe that's not adequate, I don't know. I would say that in the past, before our meetings were closed, other than staff, we probably averaged 5 to 15 people a meeting, so there isn't a lot of attendance, but it's still, when you need it, it can be vital. And or a limited amount, but then if there's folks that aren't able to get here in time, if they have something that they want to say publicly, like we did at the several meetings months ago, we had a microphone at the podium up there at the top where people could come in and say their piece. So there's different options, and if the board is interested in looking at that and would like staff to come back with recommendations on that, we could do so. I don't recall that there was an actual vote or a vote needed on closing meetings to the public. I think it was due to the, related to the state law and COVID, and Donna's nodding her head yes. So I don't think you need any kind of official motion or vote to open them back up. However, we can double check that and make sure that we're following everything properly if that's something the board is interested in.
Yes, and to follow up on that, we can also entertain the option to send the link out to the public if anybody wants to dial in, similar to what happened today.
Through the chair,
Mike.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Okay, through the chair. I think it's very important. I think we all feel that way. We all feel, well, I'm hoping, reading your body language, you all feel that the public has every right, now within a safe mean, because at the same time, we got to respect everyone. We got to respect safety. We got to respect, but it's a big difference between emailing as opposed to looking someone in the eye and discussing that issue that could be near and dear to your heart. And we're willing to sit here for 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours, whatever it takes, to listen to the people. That's what we voted us for. We work for you. We will be here. And we're all happy to listen. We want this. I personally I'd love to see these chambers open so people can come in a safely manner. I know Steve spoke with me earlier today, and he said, Mike, what if we had staff call in, therefore we can get more. I said, Steve, that's a great idea. And he wants to do whatever he can to accommodate people so they can come in. And if we were to have big issues where we have an abundance of people, we could give people turns coming in to speak. But I think it's a great idea.
With the chair?
Mike? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick. Hey.
So I would agree mostly with what Mike has just said, in that, if there's a way that we can, maybe bring in 10, 12, 15 people and have them social distance at a first come, first served basis, and then let them come in here. And for those who aren't able to get in, if they still want to address the board publicly, they can congregate outside and we can bring them in one by one. And masks required, of course, and let them speak their mind and address us. And I think, I can understand their frustration right now, because when you want to speak to the board passionately about something that you care about, somebody else reading it word for word isn't going to convey your passion about that particular subject. So I completely understand that, and Steve, if we can look into that and addressing that for our next meeting, I think that would be wonderful. So.
Well, let's through the chair.
Do you have
I'd
anything?
love to hear your comments, and maybe we open this up the next meeting.
I'd like to make a comment after you finish.
So through the chair, that I concur with my fellow supervisors. I think that this is something that we talk about transparency and wanting to make sure that nobody thinks that we're trying to do something in council chambers that they're not aware of. And I think it's important to hear from our constituents, right? They're the ones who place us in office. They voted us in here, and we need to hear them out. So if we could do it in a safe manner and make sure we're not breaking any laws or rules or mandates that are enforced right now through the state, that I think absolutely we need to get them in here sooner than later.
I couldn't agree more. I think there's absolutely no reason why we can't put 15 or 20 people in here and socially distance, wear masks, do it safely, and like I said, if we have a big issue, I'd like to set a podium just outside the door, and we can open those two doors and have the podium there, and people can come and speak one-on-one where they congregate outside in a social distance area and be safe. And I see no reason why we can't do that safely and start to open up the meetings more and have more input from the community and be more transparent. And I think that's a really a great thing. And I think we can get there, Steve. And I think that's pretty much everybody agrees on. And I think the key is safe, wearing masks, social distancing, and maybe a hand sanitation station out there. I think there is one. Yeah, there is one there still. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, so I will we'll look at implementing that. I'll work with Donna Johnston, our clerk of the board, on that as well. I also wanted to mention, I don't have notes in front of me, but I know there's a lot of talk about the COVID vaccine at the moment, and we continue to get last-minute information on that. Like we did, I forwarded an email to the board just about an hour ago. We got last-minute information from the state that the greater Sacramento region is no longer in the stay-at-home order. Don't know how much that really impacts most people, but it does have to do with, that's the order that has to do with ICU capacity. So our ICU capacity in this region is looking more promising. So, but again, much like that late news, we often are given late news on our vaccine supply. And sometimes it's good news and sometimes it's not, but we are working diligently, putting together guidance from the state and federal governments on how to structure vaccine clinics. We had a vaccine clinic Sunday by county that we got a bit over 500 people vaccinated. And with those populations, whether they're county employees or not, because most of those were not, those are healthcare, direct healthcare providers. But whatever tier it's in, we've been sending out surveys to see of those eligible how many are interested, because some people are not interested in getting the vaccine and some are. And we're working at implementing that, but Dr. Liu and the public health staff are working really hard to try to put something together, but it is difficult right now because we never know how much vaccine supply we're going to have, but we are doing our best and using as much as we can at a time and not wasting any. And again, as the supply becomes more readily available, we'll have more information and get more on our website on how people can get vaccinated. Again, I really wish, I'm struggling with it myself because there's no easy way to look at it and say, when do I think I'll be able to get vaccinated? When do I think, how could I sign up? And unfortunately, we just don't have that information yet. Again, we're trying to get through the different tiers as mandated by the state, and we'll do our best to keep everyone informed between Board of Supervisors meetings via the website and our social media pages. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'd just like to comment, real quick comment on it also. So the two-county region, if you figure that where the percentage of population we are of the state estimates that there'll be at 1 million people by the end of this week vaccinated. We should be at 5,000. We won't quite be there, but we'll be in the 4,000 range. And hopefully, God willing, and we get all the vaccine we need to get there. And I think that's a good thing. And I think the other good thing is it looks like our numbers are starting to decline so slightly, which is a good thing, which takes pressure off the hospital and the ER and the ICU. We're not out of the woods, but we're moving in the right direction. And I'd like to thank the public for doing that, because apparently the public's trying to socially distance and do the best they can do to keep the caseloads down. And that's a wonderful thing. Also, Steve, you would like to introduce our new council to the board and to the community, please.
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Yes, Ms. Robin Dravon is here beside me, and she is our new interim county counsel as approved by the board, and maybe she could just give a brief introduction. And it's been a pleasure working with her thus far.
Good afternoon, board. It's really great to be here. I'm honored by your confidence in me. This is my 5th county working in. I started off in San Joaquin as a junior attorney and went to Yolo County as their county counsel. I've served as county counsel in El Dorado and Sacramento counties, where I retired from Sacramento. And so I'm in retirement and here part-time with you, and I know it's a full-time spirit, a full-time commitment, and we'll see if we can't get through this time of COVID and get you a permanent county counsel on board. And I'm delighted to work with you and all of the department heads and elected officials as well. Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Robin. And where do you reside? I heard.
In Woodland.
In Woodland. Oh, good. Well, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. That's right.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard, and pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Nick, go ahead.
Through the chair. Robin, glad you're here. Looking forward to working with you. And you started out in San Joaquin, huh? Where they have no water, and you're up here where we have too much of it sometimes, huh? Glad to have you, and really looking forward to working with you. Thanks for being here.
Excuse me. Robin, welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you, Robin, through the chair. Thank you, Robin, for coming out of retirement. You know, we're excited to have you here. You know, when Steve told us about you, we were like, man, that's amazing. You know, it's really nice. Thank you so much. Hope to keep you as long as we can.
So thank you. Anything else, Steve, for you? Is it done? Thank you. Item number 16 is Karm Bains' appointment of Carrie Campbell to the Sutter County Planning Commission as District 4 representative. Thank you, Karm. And that's it. We will now go to closed session.
Well, hold on.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We have board considerations and any other comments by the board.
Okay. You mind if, through the chair?
Can you, before you go to that, can I just
Absolutely.
go back to 16 real quick? I just want to say it was a different process. I think typically in the past people have a tendency to appoint people that may help them out in their campaigns, maybe close friends or individuals that they know. Quite particularly, I mean, I open it up to the public. I wanted to look out and seek the best fit, the most qualified individual for our district or to represent the people of our district. And so we had a number of people showed interest, and the process was to submit a cover letter and a resume, and then we actually interviewed the individuals that stepped forward. And I just want to say that the people that came out, they were very well qualified. I think a number of them were probably overqualified for the position. Carrie Campbell really stood out, and I think that the county is very fortunate to have individuals to his level of capacity to want to serve in that capacity. So I look forward to Carrie representing District 4 on the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Karm. Mr. Leslie. Okay, moving on to other business of the Board of Supervisors and considerations of the board. Mike?
All right, through the chair, first of all, I want to close in remembrance of Cleo Rourke. Cleo passed away last week. He was 54 years old. He's from Yuba City right now, but originally he's from Sutter. Donated tons and tons of his time to the Little League, to the football programs. He's going to be greatly missed, 54 years old. On a positive note, I'd like to talk about putting together a Sutter County Youth Committee. I'd love to be appointed if we were to get there. I had two young ladies reach out to me, Hannah and Amrita, and they talked about putting together some sort of youth commission to where they get the youth more involved and seeing what's going on in the community. And this is something as a board we've talked about. Years past, the board used to have board meetings throughout the community, different high schools, different places, and it helps the community be more involved and see what's going on. I know with COVID we couldn't do that right now, but you know, we're not going to be like this forever. Mm-hmm. It ain't going to happen. We ain't going to let it happen. All right, so it's important to us to show the youth what we're doing, get them more involved. I want to look at internships, you know, down the road, and we get these young people involved in daily life of what's going on in Sutter County, from the public works to the from every department. And I applaud these young ladies for reaching out, but I think it'd be a great idea. And that's it for me.
Thank you.
Could I speak to that, through the chair?
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, yeah, I don't know exactly what you have in mind or what kind of structure you have for that, but I think in this time of divisiveness in our country, I think there's nothing better than a lesson in civics for all young people, you know. So I'd like to help you out with something like that if you're going to pursue it. So
Absolutely. Thanks.
So through the chair.
Karm, go ahead.
So Amrita Hare actually reached out to me early on before boarding, and so I've had a meeting with Liz in my first, I guess, onboarding meeting to discuss this as well. I think those gals that actually, when the application was for city, that was kind of citywide in the Appeal Democrat, that they showed interest in the city. They both of them live outside of the city's jurisdiction. And so, I think we could work on this obviously all together, but I think it's important not just for the youth to have a commission or at least a seat at the table. Maybe they could incorporate them with the city of Yuba City, or you know, as a additional seat. But looking back through that there's no representation when it comes to the youth. There's not like a senior commission or any of those other commissions that were open for the city as well. So I think it's something we need to look into. And I've been talking to Liz about that. So I think staff's waiting to give us some kind of direction.
I think that's a great idea, Karm. I think the whole idea is great, and I couldn't agree more with what Nick said about civil discourse and the communities. And I don't think it's youth that only has the problem. I think that middle-aged and older people as well have real issues with civics they could work on. So we'll leave it at that. Man, the thing is going crazy. See what else? I guess anything else to close the memory of anyone? No. We need a motion
I make a motion
to
approve.
close the memory.
Yep,
and
close the memory.
letters to
Yep.
those individuals. A second.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Clerk, please roll call.
Supervisor McKelly?
aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier?
Yes.
Supervisor Whitaker? I'm sorry, Supervisor Bains?
Aye.
Supervisor Conant?
Aye. Old habits are hard to die. We will now go into closed session.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can I note the
Oh, yeah,
purpose
you've
of
got
the
to read
closed
that.
session?
Yeah, sorry about that.
The closed session is conference with legal counsel, workers' compensation claim, Clark versus the County of Sutter, pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.95.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and we will be, this is not going to take very long, I think, but we'll
All aboard!
We can show you how. Live streaming can be simple and not expensive. You may already have the basic tools right in your hand. But it's more than just pushing live to communicate effectively. That's where Yuba-Sutter.live and Live Streaming YS on Facebook can help you. Make it easy to jump in. Just give us a call at 530-301-2931 or visit our website, www.yuba-sutter.live. Yuba-Sutter's home of live streaming and live streaming tools, live streaming services, technology, and training. Live streaming is Yuba-Sutter.live.